Today I'm going to give you two of the most common reasons that Christians have no better success with their marriages than non-Christians. The first one I call selfishness by religious justification. I had a retired pastor come to me in tears because his wife left him after 42 years of marriage. What do you say to a man that ignored what his wife had been trying to tell him for almost 40 years? Here's what he said to me. Stanley, I was working so hard on doing God's work that I didn't hear her. I think at this point he had a pretty good understanding of what happened. Do you think this man's story is an isolated case? It's not. My wife was born and raised in Russia, and as you may know, Russia didn't allow Christianity in their country for many years. She had never heard about Christianity until she came to America. She began to attend a church because they had a large Russian community, and she enjoyed being with people that spoke her language and came from her country. She attended this church for almost 3 years until she got deathly ill. She had to have 5 units of blood before the doctors thought she was strong enough to survive the emergency surgery. She'd been home from the hospital for several weeks when I commented that she hadn't been to church for a long time. She looked at me and said, "Those people don't care anything about me." Not a single one of what she thought was her friends from church came to see her while she was in the hospital. If you had someone you cared about in the hospital having emergency surgery, would you be there? I would think that most anyone would. Were they so busy being Christians that they didn't have time to just be a good friend? I don't know, but there certainly seems to be some kind of disconnect there. Visiting someone in the hospital is probably one of the least common needs that come up in people's lives around us. I've always said that most of us make excuses for the things that we don't want to do, and we make time for the things that we really do want to do. Years ago, I attended a religious revival meeting every night for a week. A lady began the meeting every night with the same song. I don't remember the name of the song, but I do remember its story. It's about a lady praying to God, and as she prayed, she said, "Lord, please reach out and touch Jim because he's lying in the hospital with terminal cancer. And Lord, please reach out and touch Mrs. Jones because her husband died and she's all alone. And Lord, please reach out and touch Dave and Mary because they're struggling to make their marriage work. And please, Lord, reach out and touch the Smith family. He lost his job and they're about to lose their house." In the chorus of the song, God speaks back to her and says, "You are my servant. You reach out and touch them. You are the finger of God." If you've made the choice to serve God and truly want to be a part of sharing the message that becoming a Christian will truly make one's life better, how can you do that work if you're arrogant or selfish and your actions say that you don't have time to show that you really care? Why would anyone listen to you? It's the giving that we do that brings us happiness and inspires us to be better people, not the taking and keeping that we do. The second reason Christians have no better success in their marriages than non-Christian is believing that they are the only ones that have the truth, which isolates them from the knowledge that might be exactly what they need. After I retired, I worked part-time for a furniture store. One day a lady came in and somehow we got into the conversation about love and what works in a marriage. After a while she stopped me and said, "You know, I came down here looking for furniture, but I think God guided me here to meet you. What you told me was exactly what I needed to hear." About an hour after she left, a man showed up wearing a sharp-looking suit. After talking with him for a bit, it was obvious he didn't come down for furniture. He finally told me that he was this lady's husband and said that she had asked him to come down and see me. We had a great conversation together. Finally, he asked me, "Do you belong to our church?" To which I replied that I did not. The next thing that he told me didn't surprise me because I've heard it before, but it's disappointing and sad. He said, "If my wife finds out that you don't belong to our church, she will never listen to you again." Our country was founded on pluralism. Being respectful that we all have different ideas and beliefs but can still live together in harmony. And I believe in this concept. It's pretty arrogant and self-destructive to believe that you or the church that you belong to are the only ones that have all the truth. It's been a common occurrence for someone to attend one of my classes and afterwards come up to me and say, "You need to come down and do a class for our church." The story's almost always the same. With some embarrassment, they've been informed that their church already has someone scheduled to do a marriage seminar. The truth is, most churches are guarded and afraid of outside information. They're afraid that someone like me will say something that they might be uncomfortable with, and in all fairness, that's probably true. I might say something like this: if what you believe about God isn't making your relationships better, then you might want to take a serious look at what you believe. There are more stories and parables in the Bible about relationships than anything else. Maybe God thought that you would understand love and relationships if He put it in those terms. So do you? You might want to read the 24th chapter of Matthew again. I think Matthew makes it very clear how to do God's work and how to love Him. Matthew says God judges what you're doing for Him and how you love Him by how you treat your fellow human beings. So the question would be, do you treat your wife or your husband and kids and the people in your circle of life the way you think you love God? I don't know. That's for you to answer, so do you? The answer to both of these issues is take the time and allow yourself to connect with those around you in genuine ways that matter. Just reach out and be there for those in the limited circle that you are in. It's not difficult to grasp the concept that if everyone would just be there in whatever way that is needed for the small circle of people that your life touches, the world would not be in the mess that we're in. We all have ups and downs and need help in some way sometime. There's no exception to this. We all need someone sometime. Remember what Edmund Burke said: all that is necessary for the forces of evil to win is for enough good people to do nothing. The Bible says it's more blessed to give than to receive. And this is a concept that's true whether you're a Christian or whether you're not. People who give are always happier than people who take. People who are selfish takers are selfish because they truly believe they will be happier being selfish. If that wasn't true, they wouldn't do it. And I'm talking about those who put a smile on their face and portray themselves as really good people, but their actions are about what they want for themselves without regard for others. So slow down and do something worthwhile. Take the time to connect with people around you and make a difference in their lives. Because you want to, not because it's your Christian duty. You'll be happier and the world will be a better place. I've heard people with money say things like this: you can't help poor people too much because they'll learn to depend on it, and besides, they need to go through their hard times and learn how to make good decisions so they won't have these problems. These kinds of comments salve their conscience so they won't feel like they are selfish people. There are more than enough difficult, hard times in people's lives without you making them more difficult by not helping when you really could. I heard an old pastor say one time, if you're going to err on the side of kindness. This video is connected to one of my web pages that will give you the secrets to keeping your love alive. Take a look at it. This just might be what you need. I'm Stanley Collins, and I wish you all the love and happiness that you're looking for.